we're going to continue to monitor this very lengthy hearing as it seems to be winding down. Welcome to Inside Politics. You have been watching a highly contentious hearing with major implications for nothing short of public health in the United States of America. For nearly 3 hours, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. didn't just field questions from senators, he lobbed insults, which many of them gave right back. Now, there are going to be lots of clips that you're going to see online, lots of viral moments, but here's what's important to keep in mind. This was not just a run-of-the-mill political food fight. This is senators from both parties, Democrats and many Republicans, trying to get basic answers from the Secretary of Health and Human Services about significant changes to the CDC, radical changes to vaccine policy. Here's just a bit.
Most Americans will be able to get it from their pharmacy for free.
The question is everyone who wants it. That was your promise,
No, I didn't. I never promised that I was going to recommend products with which there is no indication.
When you said...
And I know you've taken $855,000 from pharmaceutical companies, Senator. You're evading the question.
No, I'm asking the questions here,
You're
Mr.
evading
Kennedy.
that question.
I'm asking the questions,
I
Mr.
asked
Kennedy.
you a question.
I'm asking the questions for Mr. Kennedy on behalf of parents and schools and teachers all over the United States of America who deserve so much better than your leadership.
You did it behind closed doors.
No, the data is all public.
Now parents who decide that they do want their children to have
You're just
COVID
making
vaccine
stuff up, Senator.
I'm not
You're
making
just
stuff
making stuff up.
You know, sometimes when you make an accusation, it's kind of a confession, Mr. Kennedy.
You choose to know answers to questions with some colleagues. And
I'm willing to give you the answer. I'm willing to give you the answer.
Mr. Secretary, someone should have asked you, maybe President Trump should have asked you, are you a trustworthy person? And we should have waited for an answer then. Let's move on.
I don't even know what you're talking about. You're talking gibberish.
Well, let's bring in the one and only CNN chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Sanjay, I don't even know where to start. You and I were texting. I will just say, thank goodness you were here.
I think if you were an American watching these last 3 hours, you would be completely confused. You would have been assaulted by misinformation and disinformation. You wouldn't know if COVID vaccines cause more deaths versus COVID itself. You might think antidepressants lead to increased suicides and mass shootings. People called each other liar over and over again. I mean, a term that we would hear very sporadically. It was used so many times today. It was just very hard to piece together. I think one thing I think is important is that there's constantly been this tension, Dana, between the Make America Healthy Again movement, which I think a lot of people agree with fundamentally because we're not a very healthy country. But it is so entangled with this discussion around vaccines. And I think anytime, Secretary Kennedy was sort of asked about vaccines, he would sort of rely on this idea that we're not a very healthy country. Those are two distinct things. I was very confused by many of these things, and I think one thing I agree with Secretary Kennedy on. I don't think a lot of times they were looking for answers for him on specific questions. One of the big ones was, what was the real value of Operation Warp Speed? What did that really do? President Trump, others have said this was one of the greatest scientific achievements. Senator Cassidy said President Trump should be nominated for a Nobel Prize. Let me just show you something really quick, because I think when it comes to data, people say, look, we don't trust the corporations to give us data. We don't trust the government to give us data. And we run into this as reporters all the time. I don't know if we have this data from the Commonwealth Fund. A lot of times we search for data from other organizations that are not taking funding from private or governmental organizations. If we don't have it, I can sort of tell you the numbers here. But basically, so between December 2020 and November 2022, what did the vaccinations do in the United States? Prevented 18.5 million hospitalizations and avoided 3.2 million deaths. I put this up, Dana, because again, trying to cut through some of the clutter here, everyone's going to keep saying, well, Pfizer's presenting that data. I don't trust that. CDC's presenting that data. I don't trust it. So who are you going to trust? Who are you going to trust? And I think that's fundamentally what this is going to be about over the next, who knows how long, Dana.
Yeah, and even again, if you had to really listen for it, even at one point, Secretary Kennedy admitted to Bernie Sanders, I have no idea how many lives were saved by the COVID vaccine, but quite a few. I just quickly we played a lot of Democrats. There are Republicans who are doctors and even some who are not doctors who were trying to get answers from Secretary Kennedy, particularly Bill Cassidy, who is not just a doctor, he is the doctor who voted yes, and he allowed RFK Jr. effectively with his vote to become HHS secretary. Listen to this.
Do you agree with me that the president deserves a Nobel Prize for Operation Warp Speed?
Yeah, absolutely, Senator. That was phenomenal.
Let me ask you, but you just told Senator Bennett that the COVID vaccine killed more people than COVID.
Wait,
That was a statement.
I did not say that.
I would say effectively we're denying people vaccine.
Senator Cantwell.
You're wrong.
So I want you to weigh in quickly, but that last point, him saying, Senator Cassidy saying, you're effectively denying people vaccines, that was a theme throughout this, which he denied. But you say it, Sanjay. I mean, my impression, I have some people here on the set who say they can't get vaccines for their little kids because of the confusion of what HHS is saying.
There are many states, including D.C., where it is very hard, if not impossible, to get a COVID vaccine right now. And that is because pharmacists are relying on the advisory committee to make these recommendations. The advisory committee, as you know, was dismantled, and then we're going to see if there's even a meeting sometime later this month. But right now, pharmacists are sort of bound in many states to what those ACIP recommendations are. Could you go to a doctor? Could you pay for it yourself? Could you get it off label? Perhaps. But as was pointed out several times today, it is far harder today than it was even a month ago or certainly a year ago to get the shot if you want it. And that really goes for anybody in the country, at least in these states. And it's a patchwork, so it's really challenging and very confusing, far more confusing than it needs to be. We know the specifics that he said. It's no longer recommended for pregnant people or healthy children. Pregnant people, by the way, are often they're at increased risk, and he ended the EUA as well.
Yeah, and again, we're not talking about mandates, we're talking about availability. Two very,
exactly.
very different things.
Fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.